Hey there, welcome to episode 23 of the Let's Innovate for Vegas podcast audio program. Today is July 28th, 2023. Today we're going to talk about, I'm your host, by the way, Dan Hugo, as usual, Managing Director of the Innovate for Vegas Foundation, and for the purposes of this episode and the upcoming event, the local lead for the International Space Apps Challenge 2023. And so this is part 3 of an ongoing sort of sub-series on updates as the event and its details come together. So we are, we are actually commencing our mandatory, up until now, optional office hours meetings with the Go team, the NASA folks, NASA employees and contractors and external vendors or whoever. There's a big Slack and there's a Zoom calls, office hour meetings, and whatnot. As we have been getting things rolling, but starting August 2nd, that is next week as I'm recording this, but perhaps already happened if you're listening later. We will have mandatory weekly meetings, and so there will be something to say. I probably will not be podcasting or creating audio program episodes. I hate the word podcast. For these, we will probably go with a mailing list and we have a Discord server, and so I'll get to that shortly. Podcast is not a great way to keep in touch with people for topical and timely information. For historical purposes, sure. Maybe next year somebody will listen to this and recall fondly how the Las Vegas event and, in fact, the entire International Space Apps Challenge came together for 2023. Who knows? So today, as of today, we have our local event page published on the portal. Excuse me. Geez. Vegas allergies. Our local event page and the NASA portal itself are probably going to be in flux until October 8th, at the very end of the event. There are some features that are a little buggy. One thing, for example, the event begins globally, except for a couple of exceptions, regional exceptions. But generally the pencils up time is 9 a.m. local time. So 9 a.m. in wherever the event is based. So in Las Vegas, that's Pacific Daylight Time, in fact. So 9 a.m. October 7th is a Saturday. And then it runs until submissions are due 11:59 p.m. October 8th. So 38 hours, 59 minutes. Total elapsed time of the mission, so to speak. It's a little weird because the opening ceremonies, as they're called, are set to begin at midnight GMT, or UTC if you like. There's a difference, but we won't get into that here. So the event will begin in Vegas. The opening ceremonies will be on Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. But those are the opening ceremonies. The hacking begins many hours later, in fact. But the local time makes for a 38-hour, 59-minute event in each locality. So if they start on GMT, it would depend on where you are and all that. So that part makes sense. I would like to see it begin at 11:59 October 6th local time, personally, but what do I know? The NASA portal itself has a bunch of information about the general idea, the target audience. I think I mentioned in a previous episode, the project submissions historically are about 1/3 hardware, 1/3 software, and 1/3 other. That is, I don't mean to diminish that. Visualizations, presentations. I want to say if you, by the way, that a substantial component of this hackathon will be the use of NASA or NASA partner open data. If you're a fan of open data, that'd be cool. So you have to use the open data. It's part of your project. It's a requirement for a prize to be involved in the prize and the official judging and whatnot. So that third other component, you could completely dominate if you implement a Jupyter notebook with visualizations based on open data capture and analysis, right? As an example. So is that software? Sort of. I think especially nowadays, more people are enabled to accomplish their goals, data science or just general analysis or visualizations and so on. They're enabled to do that without strictly coding So not everything is code. That is totally fine. So hopefully we will attract people from all 3 submission bins, and we'll see what happens. Our event, by the way, will be a completely hybrid. If you are not in Las Vegas, you need not limit yourself to being in the locality where the event is being held, because our event is hybrid. If you would like to participate in the Las Vegas International Space Apps Challenge local event, you are welcome to it. The logistics will be interesting. I believe, just in case you had not heard our previous episode 22, we've recently added Mary Norris to from Open Fresno, and I cannot remember what the Sacramento. They were former Code for America brigades. They're renaming, as all of them will. We discussed some of that in that episode. But Mary is joining us on our board to help with our own outreach. This is not specifically related to the ISAC, International Space Apps Challenge, but in general, Innovate for Vegas. As I've become fond of saying, you can innovate for Vegas without innovating in Vegas. because we have wow, my allergies are going nuts. Because we have 40 million tourists coming here every year, tourist visitors, convention attendees, and so on, versus 2.5 million in the Southern Nevada area. Tourism isn't a big deal here, a destination city. So we'd like to be able to, let's say, expose. That's a thorny word, given recent times. But we'd like to expose people to open source projects and civic volunteerism at scale. And so anyone, anywhere who's interested in working on our projects or their projects in collaboration, so that we can get people involved in seeing what civic volunteerism, what making certain aspects of life a little bit better for people if they're here visiting in Las Vegas and they can see what someone in Middle America or anywhere else is working on as it relates to their personal trip through the day, the week, the month, the year. So much the better. Who knows? They might go home and tell their friends. There you go. So the latest, I attended an office hours meeting last week. And so the challenge topics, that's the big question, right? If you're going to participate, what are you going to participate doing? Challenge topics for 2023 will be very similar. And that has been emphasized many times. Very similar to topics from previous, especially recent years. The links to the previous year's challenge summaries, statistics, they have like the number of projects submitted per topic and so on. The links for those are not on the NASA portal yet, but I have them. I will publish them in our Discord server, and I'll publish them in our mailing list. And again, I'll get to those in a moment, but they will be available on the NASA portal as well. I have a NASA portal link in the show notes. It's linked from our main homepage, or will be. I'm not a fan of how Spotify or most RSS feed reading portals publish show notes, RSS descriptions. That's a different show, but this is not the best way to share links. So as long as you can find our homepage, innovateforvegas.org, all one word, you'll find the things I'm talking about today linked from there. So the challenges will be interesting. Like I said, 1/3 hardware, software, and other. So some of the details of previous projects will probably be helpful to get the bearings. Like, what are we doing come October 7th at 9 a.m.? And we'll get to that too in a second. Official NASA policies regarding minor age participation. I actually asked for a written document. The details have been mentioned internally at these office hours meetings or similar discussions. That's useful, but it kind of leaves to chance the local leads, such as myself, when it comes to interacting with parents. Now, I have talked to parents now and then because all of the Innovate for Vegas Foundation events, hackathons and projects and so on, are friendly for any age. That means we try to keep the language friendly, try to be inviting, enabling, encouraging. You do not need to be 21 and older or 18 and older to be innovative. However, under 18, the rules of the road are parents must be able to know where you are, who you're hanging out with, give permission, and so on. And we absolutely do not argue against that. I always say, bring your parents. Why not? Parents should be involved no matter how old they are. I invite my parents to come all the time. They don't live in Las Vegas, but with the remote event possibilities only getting more potent, who knows? Maybe they'll show up. So we'll be getting that in writing in early August, and we can share that with people who are considering participation of themselves or maybe their young children. So anyone under 18, you'll need to bring a parent. Why not? Parents should be involved in this stuff anyway. The opening ceremonies of the hackathon, like I mentioned, begin at midnight GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, or for these purposes, UTC, right? So Las Vegas is -7, UTC -7 or GMT -7 really, in October. So as I mentioned earlier, 5 p.m. local time. But the actual hackathon, as I've been saying, pencils up and then pencils down at 11:59. Although technically, I believe you have to have your project submitted by 11:59. I predict that will be loosened up a bit. I predict the server will have problems with mass project submissions. We'll see. But anyway, so the event begins, like I said, at midnight GMT. The actual hackathon depends on where you are, where the event is, I should say. So if you are participating from Ireland, for example, in the Las Vegas event, then you will be in GMT or UTC, and we will still be in GMT -7. So you would have to participate on our 9 a.m. October 7 to 11:59 p.m. October 8th schedule. But you're welcome to do it. But keep that in mind. Man, I have to apologize for my Las Vegas allergies in full swing today. So the first time hackathon, have you ever been? Have you ever done it? Have you ever, especially because this is a 38-hour and 59-minute event, I'm going to start emphasizing that so people know to expect that. Our monthly hackathons to date have not been, because a monthly hackathon for people living, hanging out, working with families, jobs in the greater Vegas area are not necessarily ready to spend a 48-hour or a 40-hour weekend on hacking. And by the way, hackathons are not about breaking into banks or compromising security, although some might have you believe it is. Hackathons are about ideation with a time limit and ideally some innovation. We'll see about that. So in order to prepare people who would like to participate in this, there has not been a Las Vegas local event since 2019. So people might be out of practice. So we are converting a takeover, if you will, our monthly hackathon meetup. Man, our monthly hackathon meetups, which have been occurring monthly, it's right there in the name. Our monthly hackathon meetups for August and September will be taken over by the International Space Apps Challenge, so that we can practice, that we can familiarize people interested. So if you are thinking about participating, or if you know someone who is, our normal August hackathon normally would be on 26 August. That's Saturday at the Innovation Center downtown. We'll start at 10. Our normal events start at 9, but nobody shows up at 9 anyway. So we'll say it starts at 10. Now, if you do show up at 10, be aware the actual event starts at 9. So when we do this is the pre-check. So when we do our event the following month, we'll start at 9 o'clock, just like a dry run. And let me update my notes about that, in fact. Bam, like that. So at 10 a.m. August 26th, we'll have a sort of a what is a hackathon introduction. By then, the topics from previous years, the topics for this year will not be published until right around the time of our real pre-hackathon. So this is a pre-pre. So we'll go over some of the previous year's projects, challenges, if you will, and how open data works, and the general idea between hardware, software, and other project types. How do you put a team together? How we'll communicate, and so on. So we'll do that on October 26th. Then on September 23rd is our final before the International Space Apps Challenge actual hackathon. 23rd of September, we'll take over our September monthly hackathon meetup, and this will be the real thing. So what does that mean? Well, we will have a hackathon boot camp again, but this will be closer to the real thing. Team meetup, that means if you are participating with a team or if you'd like to put together a team, we'll see if you can do that. Or if your team members are remote, we can make arrangements. Maybe we'll we'll have this online. That would make sense. This is still in the planning stages, but it makes good sense to have a dry run. We are enabled, if we need to have our own local boot camp event that goes for 38 hours and 59 minutes. So we can actually test for people who want to participate the actual timeline that will be taking place 2 weeks later for the hackathon. Now, obviously 2 weeks of all-nighter hackathons will be sort of a chore. So I don't know if that'll work out for people, but we'll see. We'll play by ear. We can. Maybe we'll do like marathon runners. We'll test the limits, but we will not run the full marathon 2 weeks later. It's time enough for that. So it'll be beneficial for you to show up. If you've never had or been to a hackathon before, or if you are trying to assemble a team and your team and you are not familiar with working together at a hackathon, this will be beneficial. There will be more on that as time progresses. And again, check our website. I'll keep that up to date starting in August regarding this event. So as I just mentioned, our website will be current. The NASA portal page may be trailing a bit. They have a moderation step wherein the project team checks content. So there's a delay. The pipeline is long. And so we'll keep our website more current and our Discord server for project discussions up until October 8th. As I mentioned, so just now, we have our Discord server. People have not been using our Discord server so much for our projects, but we'll see how this goes. Same policies will apply. We already enable people to participate that are under 18, but just be aware for NASA policies that you have to follow their rules, and so do we. So we will apply them as needed, as appropriate. Please do not be rebellious here. There's plenty of time for that at other occasions. And we're going to set up a mailing list for some of our partners and enablers. There are people who are possibly having alternate venues in the greater Vegas area. There are people that hopefully will be interested in taking a sponsorship role. I'm really hoping that there are a few, I'll save that for later, but I will say we do have a comedian booked so far. So 38 hours and 59 minutes is a long window of time. We will benefit all of us from study breaks. And this being Vegas, a Caltech graduate making space funny, humorous, entertaining, in a kid-friendly manner, by the way, will be fun. I have known Alex, our comedian, for about 10 years now. Already making jokes about the Hohmann low energy transfer, which is a space term. Look it up. And that is all for today. The International Space Apps Challenge is an annual event. It is a NASA event. If you visit the portal spaceappschallenge.org, you can see some of the basic details. Again, we'll link to that from our own homepage, innovateforvegas.org, FOR spelled out. It's funny that you have to spell that out. People often ask that. Is it the number 4? No, it's like a word. Unfortunately, our Twitter handle is innovate4 because of the length limit on handle names. But then Twitter is now also limited to 1 character in its name. So we will most likely be transitioning away from whatever that platform is called now. We're going to be launching or powering the launch of some social networking tools for the greater Vegas area. So we'll take advantage of those through August and September to help get the word out about this event and others. So looking forward to that. But we are Innovate for Vegas, all spelled out. No spaces, no dashes, no periods, except for the end there. .org, innovateforvegas.org. If you visit that website, we'll have links to relevant Discords and NASA portals and mailing list subscriptions and so on. That is it. Thank you for listening. And thank you especially for signing up or sharing the local event page link with your friends. I would be quite happy to see a team of people who are interested in innovating here in the Greater Vegas area. Greater Vegas area extending throughout the planet, throughout the Nevada area and across the planet. How about that? And as I've said frequently, if you are visiting Area 51 from faraway places, please do phone home, if you will, your colleagues. You are all welcome to participate. I'm not sure what the policy is on escape velocity. Is that a challenge? Possibly it is. Anyway, do share this information with friends who are possibly interested, but who have not yet heard about this. Discovery in Vegas is always a challenge, and we'll try to overtake that one as well. Take care. Until next week. Bye-bye.